Hi everybody, it's Chris from Guilty Words, where we unravel crime one word at a time. In today's video, Ruby lays out what a wonderful mother she is and how she is braver and a smarter mother than most of the parents, if not all of the parents in America, because she knows that this abuse, although she doesn't use that word, is what children need. Let's look at her smug, self-congratulatory rationalization for child abuse together. Keep in mind as we read these next entries that at this point, E and R are definitely being kept separate from each other. R says he hasn't seen his sister in almost a month, but he can hear her, and presumably she can hear him. And think of the horrible echo of like being in a prison and hearing others being tortured. Anyway, August 10th, 2023. Jody and Jay are still in Arizona. They should be back tonight. I am watching R in the closet and E on the back patio. It's warm outside and raining. I told E that rain is cleaning the rocks from dirt and R's pee. I told her to feel the rain clean her. I told her she can be as clean as she wants to be. I checked in on R and asked what he was thinking about, how my choices led me here. Me. R, did you know you were in a dark pit of despair? R, what do you mean? And then whatever she says is redacted, and she just adds the note, chilling. E stood in the rain for 2 hours. So R, spending another day locked in a dark closet, and then his mother asks him, did you know you were in a dark pit of despair? Now he's just tried this intense praying to convince her that he's no longer demon-possessed. And she changes things up. Of all the things she said to him, you're not being obedient, you're making bad choices, you're desecrating your soul. She hasn't accused him of being in a dark pit of despair yet. So he's like, what do you mean? And apparently whatever exchange they had after that that's redacted left her unhappy because she wrote that word, chilling. And E just stood in the rain for 2 hours. Probably very, very still, because we know Ruby doesn't like it when they look around or fidget or move in any way. August 15th, 2023. We're just a couple of days from R's escape. For the human who is not humble, today this constitutes the vast majority. You have to get to your breaking point. R never would have disclosed his sins had he not had a hope that confessing would bring a sense of relief. His motive, because he is not humble, was to feel better. Because all his distractions were taken away and any belief he was getting them back was banished. We were consistent. We followed through. R was left with only one outlet to find relief: confession. The world we live in today does not support children being uncomfortable. They, the adults, are uncomfortable with the children being uncomfortable. And so children are comforted, entertained, distracted from the need to confess and change. Stripping down a child's world to the basics of beans and rice and hard work would be considered abuse. And it's not. It's necessary for the prideful child. The handwriting here is very neat, even, and precise, like the tone. As you can see in other entries, it's not always that way. And once again, she has that arrogant, didactic, I am telling truths here and the world doesn't understand. For the human who is not humble, and today this constitutes the vast majority, except me. What is more arrogant than boasting about how humble you are? She goes on to say, All his distractions were taken away, and any belief he was getting them back was banished. They had to get R to his breaking point, as she said. And what were they breaking? They were breaking him in mind, body, and spirit. We were consistent. We followed through. Yay, you. What a boast there. And it is we. It's not just Ruby here. Jody's helping. I don't think Jody's leading it, but Jody is definitely encouraging and coming right along. Only one outlet to find relief and confession. And R has just tried that with that long prayer yelled from the closet. But she does say, because he is not humble. She doesn't believe him. Stripping down a child's world to the basics of beans and rice and hard work would be considered abuse, and it's not. It's necessary for the prideful child. She knows to the outside world and all of the rest of us stupid adults who aren't as wise as she is that this would look like abuse. Well, that's because it is. But she says it's necessary. I can't imagine what kind of hard work they would be doing if they'd ever gotten to that isolated land in Arizona. Now that R has his behaviors out, all of them, he feels like a failure, a monster, useless, worthless. The relief he felt in confession was short-lived, and now there is nowhere to hide, so he becomes overtly aggressive, destructive, and combative. Foul language I've never heard is pouring out. It's his only distraction. Poop, pee, damage. The despair comes in. He is weak, infectious, hopeless, and never felt worse. A setup from the devil. Now is the work. It's been 3 months of consistent boundaries and putting up with his terrorizing to get his confessions out. Who would do this in the real world? I don't know of anyone who would feed their kid in America beans, lentils, and rice and chicken for 3 straight months and refuse all distractions. And this is why Americans are so full of sin and ready for destruction. They won't repent. Continuing her tone. He feels like a failure, a monster, useless and worthless. So he did this confessing. But it wasn't enough. He's still locked in that closet. Nothing has changed. And so now he's aggressive and destructive. What more can he do? He's despairing. He's weak, infectious, hopeless, and never felt worse. A setup from the devil. No, that's a setup from his mother. And now is the work. It's been 3 months of consistent boundaries. Now is the work. Now remember, to Ruby, work is the physical labor that keeps this distraction away and keeps the devil out. So the work will be essentially to work him to death in this new area. And of course, she's superior because she managed to feed her kids very little. She may claim this is what she fed them for 3 straight months, but she didn't feed them every day either. 3 solid days of fasting. And also they were incredibly malnourished by the time they got to the hospital. But Americans are ready for destruction, except her. Okay. From the police reports. Officers entered the residence to conduct a protective sweep and to locate the 2 sisters who were said to still be in the house. During the protective sweep, approximately 11:52 hours, Child 2 was found sitting in a bedroom walk-in closet on the main floor. I observed that Child 2's hair was cut short and had a similar appearance to, I'm guessing, ours. Her legs, arms, and face were slim, and she appeared to be malnutrition. I stayed with Child 2 while officers completed the protective sweep of the house. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope you'll join me for the next video, which is the last one in this series on Ruby Franke's diary. In it, through Ruby's detailed descriptions, we see the physical deterioration of the children and the increasing desperation. and Ruby's increasing elation at the thought of getting them away somewhere isolated to teach them more lessons that probably would have killed them. And we end with the triumph of a young boy whose spirit couldn't be broken, and the escape that saved his life and his sister's. I hope to see you in the next video, and until I do, please use your words wisely and well. Take care.